What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy, 5 Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada, and here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. And Sacramento was good to me last night, covering that +6. What's good,
Yeah.
Spread? How are you?
Yeah, that was kind of a funny one, right? Because you had the +6.5. Kind of wanted that Tyler Hero shot to go in, and
Right.
he traveled. Did you see
Yes.
that?
Yes.
And it's kind of weird because I care about my money more as a fandom, but I'm like, it's fine because
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they still
Right.
cover if that goes to OT, but that was a fun game, and I love when Davion's in the game.
He's nice,
Davion,
man.
they got to get him more minutes, and I don't want to see how that works out. But
Fox got to go, man. You know, I
yeah,
cut for Fox. That's my guy, but he got to go, man. It's the Davion Mitchell show, man. It's the Davion Mitchell show now, man. Fox has to go, man.
yeah, I do hope so. But yeah, good cover for us tonight, and yeah, I've been having fun in the NBA as well. So looking forward to talking with you about that today.
Man, I couldn't be more thrilled. You know that all Houston Astros fans were having panic attacks after they lost 7-0 the night before last. So we all was worried. I kept telling all my guys on Twitter and the guys that I know, like, nah, we're gonna win this game. We're gonna win because I really trust Christian Javier. He's my favorite pitcher on that staff. He's always been the ace to me this whole season. But you know, Dusty uses him the way that he feels fit, and it worked out perfectly for him as we get the first no hitter uh, in so many years. There's only been one other one. They're saying postseason because I know they're trying to show love to Roy Halladay, you know, because he passed and stuff tragically. But his was in a NLCS, I believe, against Cincinnati. But it's only been two no hitters in the World Series. You know, the famous one by Koufax with the Dodgers. And then now we have this combined no hitter by the best pitching staff we've seen in a long time. So we'll see if Verlander is able to bounce back. He gets the ball and see if he can, you know, answer the critics. You know, he's been one of the greatest pitchers of our generation, and he's really had some stinkers lately. So the fan base is a little worried about JB taking the ball, but if we get it done tonight, I think we're in a good position. The Astros are undefeated in Game 5s in the World Series throughout. So we got history on our side with that one, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the futures. Let's get to the past, present, and future, man, and talk about these games we gave out.
Yeah, 3-0. You gotta love it. Let's get straight to the past. The first one, that over. So what do we have there? I think we had 49 points in the first half, 28-21 at halftime.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. I had some other action going on too. In the fourth quarter, this one might not go. This one might not get there, and I'd already clocked it as a win in my mind, but they ended up getting there. I really only watched the first half though. What did you see in that game?
Man, they throttled down so much in the fourth quarter. We were both terrified. I'm like, this is horrible. Luckily for us, Sonny Dykes had TCU -7.5 in the over because you rarely see coaches do what he did. It was a great play call, man. More of them need to do it. You know, they have an excellent quarterback in Max Dugan, and he made a great throw to one of those great wide receivers that they have. They knew that the boxes would be stacked. They were right out of field goal position, up 4 points, and it's a 4th-and-1. They do something that's rarely done, and they throw the ball, man. They go deep, and luckily for us, the receiver grabs it and catches it, and all the 7.5 bag holders for West Virginia just all collapsed, and all the overholders like us jumped through the roof. So TCU does cover. They keep the streak going. You know, they're 12-1 on the over in their last 13 games after a win. So that continues, man. And TCU is just a fun team to watch. Sonny Dykes needs a lot of credit for the job he's done over there. People did not expect this from TCU. He's pretty much showing that if he has the right type of athletes, that his offense is really potent. And I like a lot what he's doing. He's got to be the Big 12 coach of the year early right now.
What do you think of the quarterback there at TCU?
Super tough. He reminds me of, you know who he reminds me of? Gardner Minshew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he might make the NFL and be a backup that's a good can give you a couple games. A Taylor Heineke type that can come in and keep the boat afloat until you guys can, until your team can get the person who's supposed to be in there as the number one. But I think he might make a roster.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how he's going. And he's actually, I don't think he'll win it, but he's kind of snuck his name into the Heisman race, leading TCU.
His numbers deserve consideration, but it's because where he at, they're not going to give it to him by
right. But he might
be in TCU.
If you're at TCU, just making the show, right, or being a finalist would be an accomplishment. So I think we got to give him some credit. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans, who defeated the Houston Texans. Once again, Derrick Henry ran for 200 yards against the Texans. It just seems to be, against the Texans, it seems to be just what they do. And Malik Willis, well, I don't even know. I think he only threw like one pass in the second half. Yeah, like
6 out of 10, 55 yards.
Yeah, so they played that game like a junior high game, and it worked. And you got to give Mike Vrabel credit. He doesn't try to force things. He's not trying to adjust to the new way the NFL goes. And I'll tell you what, is there a team that tackles better than the Titans? I don't have the statistics for this, but my guess would be they have the fewest missed tackles in the NFL. Yeah. And it's not a surprise that a linebacker has this guy's tackling. And sometimes I think that we fall in love with all the great gadget plays, that the guy in Miami draws up and McVay and the little rascals draw up. But there is a certain, I think, underrated aspect of a guy who's just coaching football, right? These guys don't miss tackles and they hit their blocks. And they're, when you're more talented than the other team, and that's kind of how I feel on how they were against Houston. Houston still needs some more pieces. Although we do like what they're doing there with that secondary, right? They have some exciting players, but they need to beef up both sides of the line before they're able to compete. But it was nice for us to get an easy win there with Tennessee because final score was 17-10, right? But that last drive, right? It was 17-3 for like 55 minutes of the game, right? Yeah. Never really felt like the cover was in doubt. What did you see in that one?
Yeah, that last drive was a mercy touchdown that the Titans allowed. Vrabel used to coach with the Texans, and I'm sure he's good friends with Lovie Smith and stuff. I'm sure they know each other through the coaching circles. As you said, Titans beat them with old school, literally middle school football, where it's just line up every play and we're going to run the ball. We have an athletic quarterback, and he's going to run around too. And it was quite a boring game, but it went the way that I felt that it was. As you know, I gave out the Titans here and also on ESPN 97.5 in Houston, simply for the fact that I just knew that the Texans would not be able to stop Derrick Henry in the run. The week before, they were ran all over by Josh Jacobs. The Texans just really struggled to stop the run, and they have a difficult game tonight over at NRG as you got the Philadelphia Eagles, undefeated team, coming in town. But back to this game, Mike Vrabel, as you said, he's not a little rascal. That's one of the best quotes you ever said. That Mike Vrabel is not a little rascal. He's going to do what's necessary to win the game. He's going to take advantage of his advantages. And I think that he did a really good job of playing within the team. And somehow, miraculously, you look up at the record after that Buffalo blowout in the beginning of the season, you wouldn't think that the Titans would be 5-2, but here they are again because of the Mike Vrabel. He's truly one of the best coaches in the league and truly underrated.
And that's where I think we have an advantage, watching this game for 20 years. A lot of the people moving money in this industry, let's give them credit, right? They're in their late 20s, early 30s, but they just love offense, right? And a lot of them, because they made their nut on DFS and fantasy, right? And they're gambling, in some sports now too. But I think that the type of style that Vrabel gets is completely underappreciated, but by some of the younger gamblers and some of the younger media. So I think the Titans give us a huge edge because they're going to continue to be undervalued because they don't put up big numbers, right? Like there's no one besides Derrick Henry. There's no one you roster if you're playing fantasy. Tackling, those stats don't really show up. But they do all the right things. So, hey, keep sleeping on the Titans, and we'll just keep cashing on them. The San Francisco 49ers, once again, Shanahan beats McVay. And I'll tell you what, I thought, remember when LeBron said sometimes 2 points is more than 2 points? I thought that one win, is more than one win in the standings. The Rams looked disheartened at the end of that game. it was a close game going into halftime, and I said, hey, maybe the Rams finally get them. And the 49ers completely dominated in the second half. And we saw what that offense looked like with just Christian McCaffrey. Now, Deebo Samuel mix. When you're able to mix both those guys in, all you need is Jimmy G to be accurate, right? And I know that everybody wants to have a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes that can do it all. But, hey, those guys are rare and elite for a reason. And it's another thing where I think just because he doesn't do anything flashy and you'll never roster him in fantasy, people don't realize that Jimmy Garoppolo just makes the right throw. And so once again, the 49ers beat the Rams. And look, this NFC's in shambles, right? Tampa, right? The teams we thought might be good. Tampa, Green Bay, Minnesota. Hey, let's give them credit. But I don't know if they're going to be able to win a playoff game, especially on the road. Now, they might get some home field. But the 49ers, even though their record isn't that good, if they can keep this defense healthy, I think they can make noise in the playoffs again. So I was pretty excited to back the Niners this week, and I think they're going to continue to be more attractive moving forward.
Niners, you know how we love the Niners against the Rams. I've been talking all offseason about the Rams were about to fall off. I saw this coming. Stafford has too many commercials. He's never been consistently a winner in the NFL. And they lost a really key component to that offensive success, and that was OBJ, and they have never found a replacement for him. They just don't look anything like the team that they were last year. It was a lightning in a bottle for them. I don't think that they win any more Super Bowls. Aaron Donald might retire after this year now. So
I think it's your guy. I think that's the real problem. I think this offense would look fine if they're giving them time. They just can't block.
Yeah. They can't block.
It looks like Stafford in Detroit where he's on his back every other play. So
he can play. I know Matt Stafford can play. It's just that he's not a really good decision maker. But one thing that I can give him is he understands defenses and he knows how to get the ball to the open guy when he's given time. So believe me, I know this a lot has to do with the little twerp over there, McVay. Those guys sold their souls for one Super Bowl. We know that. For 3 straight years, they went and bought every free agent they could buy up and didn't think about later. And now they're really weak at the defensive back position besides Jalen Ramsey. They're really weak on the offensive line. They're just a shell of the team that they were last year. And they're not going to make the playoffs. Like I told you, they will not make the playoffs. So we will definitely have a new Super Bowl champion this year because they're not going to even be able to get a wild card with that division. And I think Seattle steals that wild card, if anything, out of that division, So it's just going to be tough for them. And getting to the Niners, Deebo Samuels didn't play this game. You saw what Christian McCaffrey could do playing the Deebo Samuels role. And I think that's very important going into this offseason because we know what type of money they paid Deebo. I would not be surprised if Deebo is on the trade market this summer and that they start running these plays for Christian McCaffrey because they're paying him a lot of money, and as we know, Deebo never plays the whole season. He always misses some games because he's always banged up. If they can figure out a way to make it where Christian McCaffrey is that guy and can keep him healthy, they'll be able to do everything that they were doing with Deebo, but now just with McCaffrey, who
that might not happen is because both players do have an injury history. I think the idea is you lighten both their workloads. One of Samuel's big contentions, point of contentions in the offseason was like, hey, you're using me like a running back. You're running me into the ground. McCaffrey's never, he's also had injury concerns as well. So I think the idea in getting them is we now have 2 of these guys and we can get them, we can get both their touches down. Right. We'll see how it works in the salary cap, and maybe they want to replenish that. But that would be my one thinking that, hey, they want to move forward with these 2 guys. Because we talked about it with Jimmy. You're going to have to put weapons around him, right? Jimmy's not going to get it done, right, with that Aaron Rodgers receiving core. He needs those weapons. So we'll see how that one goes. But once again, we cashed on the 49ers. And like I said, if this team stays healthy, we rode the 49ers last year to a very profitable playoffs and the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if we do that again because they have the ability to rush the passer, right? And it doesn't matter what type of play you draw up if you only have 2 seconds to get it going. So we'll look forward to that. But, hey, I can't wait to hear what you're going to talk about on this next game. Let's talk about the present because we have another game on Amazon Prime tonight. Not necessarily the best matchup, but still an opportunity to make money. I told you before we went on, I haven't necessarily dived into it as much as I usually do for the Thursday night game because I was a little flummoxed. I came out when I ran projections Philadelphia by 18 points. But we know on those bigger spreads, that's where it gets tough, right? Because I was listening to, what's his name? Chris Andrews, the guy that makes the lines for the South Point. And he says, hey, when I set these lines, there's a law of diminishing returns. I could have a power ranking at 17, but I'm going to set it at 14 because we know that teams at this point aren't going to put their foot on the gas, Whereas, if I set it, I make it at 8, I'm going to put it at 8. But after 14, they don't like to keep pushing those numbers higher and higher. And we know why, because you're going to get the prevent defense and you're just going to get guys running out the clock. What do you think of tonight's game where Houston's hosting Philadelphia? I know the whole world's going to be on Philly. So I'm not necessarily running to bet my projection.
Yeah, 80% of the public money is on Philadelphia tonight. I never like that when it's a standalone game. I'll talk about this game a little bit more in depth when we get to the Ball and Parlay. I will be making a play on it, but it will not be for the game. It'll be for the first half. The Texans just struggle, man. They struggle all the way around, and it all starts with Davis Mills. Davis Mills is really having a horrible second season as the starter. He's not being able to produce. A lot of people saying, well, what about the weapons around him? It's just, we've been watching this a long time. And when a quarterback pops, he pops. Justin Fields, for instance, nothing around him, but you can still see that he can play. You know what I mean? You can still see that he's a real quarterback in this league and a threat offensively. And his team plays for him because they know that, hey, we got a chance if we can get the ball back to Justin. You don't see that at all in the locker room. I expect a lot of late money to come in on the Texans. I believe that people are going to pound them the closer we get to kickoff. It's just too much money on Philly, and it seems too much like right. So we know the history of these standalone games and how they go. So do not be surprised if the Houston Texans somehow, I don't know how, cover this game in the second half because the Eagles have been a really good first half team and really pedestrian in the second half. They haven't been a really good team out of the locker room. So I'll be interested to see how this game goes, and I'll break down my play on this game when we get to the Ball and Parlay.
All right, looking forward to that. And I'm thinking about it as you're talking. I think I do agree with your angle there because I have an idea where you're going. And I'll tell you what, the numbers are going to absolutely love that move. But, hey, that's not the only thing going on tonight. And thank God, right? Because if my projections are right, it's not going to be a lot of fun.
Right.
But how about Appalachian State? They're heading to Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina +3 here. What are you thinking?
Got to go with Coastal Carolina, man. You know I'm a big Grayson McCall guy. He's at home. Appalachian State does have the better roster, but somewhere along the lines of the season, Appalachian State got lost. And I don't know what happened, but they're a very difficult team to read. Sometimes they play defense, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they score a lot of points, sometimes they don't. They had a weird loss to Texas State on the road. Then they also beat the Aggies on the road. So they're just a difficult team to call. But I do know that Coastal Carolina is usually a very good home team, especially if they have Grayson McCall in the center, which he will be tonight. Anytime you can get a good team with points at home in a matchup that's pretty even, you got to take it. I just think that Coastal Carolina is well coached. I really like what Jamie Caldwell has done over there for a long time. And it's only a matter of time before he moves to a more major program. He's been in Coastal Carolina doing this thing for a while now, and he's really one of the more unheralded good coaches in college football. And Grayson McCall is going to play on Sundays. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to be a steal in the NFL draft. It's going to surprise a lot of people when he shows up at camp. So I like them a lot. Chase Bryce, who's the quarterback for Appalachian State. He's a good quarterback. He's been in the school like 10 years. He's like a 6-year senior. He does turn the ball. He makes a lot of mistakes with trying to force stuff. He had a good game against small Robert Morris last week, but anytime he's faced decent competition, he has had trouble with protecting the ball, and I think that Coastal Carolina is able to stay in this game and maybe even win it. But if I had to play on this game, it'll probably be Coastal Carolina +3.
All right. And hey, the last couple of weeks, the college has been better on the Thursday night than the product that the NFL has given us. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case again tonight, where I have the, I got a couple TVs going and I'm paying a lot more attention to the college game than the professional game. Only 2 games NBA tonight. Maybe they were anticipating, hey, good job on the NBA, because who thought how exciting this World Series would be? Rather than go up against that, they let baseball have their shine. And, they got a couple throwaway games here, right? They got to get these guys on national TV here. The first one we'll talk about is the Warriors heading to Orlando to take on the Magic. Of course, the Warriors' most recent game was in Miami, so they're on this little East Coast road trip right now. We talked about it before we went on the air. I see, a lot of people. I follow too many Warriors fans on Twitter, but they're all upset because the team isn't 8-0 like Milwaukee, right? But I like what Steve Kerr's doing, and he's giving these guys young. I mean, James Wiseman's not. Maybe you could send him to the G League, right? But most likely, if he's going to be able to contribute in the playoffs, and I'm not saying he's going to be a starting guy, but if he gives you 10 to 15 minutes, Moody, Kuminga, all these guys, if they give you 10 to 15 solid minutes in the playoffs, that makes this team so much better. We've seen it before with these top-heavy teams where, the stars go to the bench and then, a 2-point lead turns into a 7-point deficit by the time they come back in. Kerr is trying to develop these players while also pushing for a championship. It's very hard to do, and I think the criticism is unfounded here. On the flip side, that means they're not covering a lot of spreads because you're getting these young guys in there and they're learning through mistakes the same way that a team like Orlando would be, right? Because Orlando's playing a bunch of young guys too, right? Paulo Banchero had a great player, right? Let's give him credit. He's right now front runner for Rookie of the Year, but he only played 1 year in Duke, right? I mean, they don't come in the league knowing how to win the same way they did when we were young, when they played under good coaches for 3 to 4 years. So it's a case here tonight where I think that, hey, the Warriors fans are going to be upset, but I think it gives us an opportunity on these big spreads here. My numbers lean towards the Magic. I haven't bet it yet. I wanted to talk to you. What do you think about Golden State taking on Orlando tonight?
I'll be on the Magic. The Magic have played some good basketball. They're 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 home games. We as bettors, that's all that matters. We could care less if they're 1-7.
Yeah.
They've been in a lot of games this year, man. Bo moving to the starting lineup has been huge. They have a much bigger lineup now that they've lost both their point guards. Anthony is a small guy. He plays bigger than his size, but he's still a disadvantage on the defensive end. And then the other kid out of Gonzaga, Suggs, he's out. He's a tough kid, but he's still another one that's undersized. He's like 6'2". When they put Bol in there, it made it where now they have a much lengthier lineup in there. They're playing a better defense. And then the thing is, Golden State, like you said, they're kind of going through the motions. We're seeing from them the thing that you see from a lot of championship teams who won for a long time. It's hard for them to kind of get emotionally attached right now. They're kind of just going through the motions. And as you said, Kerr is getting the team ready for the playoff run. He's allowing a lot of people to get minutes to try to see who's going to be ready for when it really counts. And this is November. And we all know that NBA doesn't really get serious until after the All-Star break. So I just think that right now the Warriors are just coasting through. They lost 3 straight
because they lost to the Pistons, they lost to the Hornets,
they lost 3 straight, to the Heat. All on the road.
Pistons, Hornets, Heat, and Pistons and Hornets were at home. Yeah,
the Warriors have not been a good road team now for 2 seasons. Even last year, they weren't that good of a road team. I think that the Warriors are also a little bit overrated. Hard to say with 4-time champion team, but they're a little bit overrated because, as me and you both know, last year no one saw them winning the championship. They kind of just got hot at the right time and made a run, and their ability to close games with Steph Curry and his leadership kind of got them over the hump, and them being able to see Jordan Poole become a superstar and things like that kind of all went right for them. But now they're dealing with there's still some tension in their locker room. I know that people think, oh, it's over. They turn the page. People get into it all the time. I just watch body language, and it seems like Draymond is still kind of an outsider with the team right now. Like there, you know how you have a good friend, you guys have a fight, and it's never kind of like the same. It seems like that a little bit to me. So it's just a lot of stuff going on, and most of all, the Warriors are 29th ranked defensively. That's not good. They're one of the worst teams in the league. They're giving up 121 points per game. So I can't lay 9 points with them saying that you're going to score 130 on a Magic team that actually does attempt to play defense, So I will definitely be on the Magic +9 on this game. It's just everything points to me that the Warriors do win, but I don't know if they win by enough.
Yeah, I'm with you there. To me, it's Magic or pass. So let's talk about the Denver Nuggets, who are heading to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'll let you break that down because that's going to be my ball and parlay. So just give me your thought. Well, you know what? We'll just save that whole one for
yeah, we'll save it. Only thing that I have to say on that is I'm rolling with you, whatever side that you pick.
You know what I'm on.
Kind of know where you're at.
Yeah.
But OKC is a really good home team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is everything that we knew he was when the Clippers traded him, So we'll get to that in a second. But let's get to the future right now.
Yeah, let's talk about the future. And it involves your team. And hey, I'm not big on baseball in the regular season. I sometimes, I've told you before, 3.5-hour games in August is tough for me. But tonight, it's going to be me, and it's going to be a lot of people here. I'll be interested to see how this football game does with the ratings, because I think, just judging from my Twitter timeline and talking to people are excited about this baseball series. And I think it's two teams that really have attracted, the attention. And I think the Astros, right? Every good story needs a villain, right?
Villain.
Star Wars would suck if Darth Vader's not in it, right? The reason it's awesome is because of Darth Vader. And regardless of what you want, and I kind of get sick of this, like this hasn't been happening in baseball since 1901 or whenever Major League Baseball started. But that's where they are in the terms of nation, especially among casual baseball fans who just kind of caught that one story and then disregarded all the other ones with all the other teams that were doing it. They just didn't have the success, right? But all eyes are going to be on this series. What are you thinking here when the Astros take on the Phillies tonight and for the rest of the series?
I got to go with the Astros at 6 simply because this sets us up with the ability to hedge. You get the Astros at 6 at +170. Tonight, the Astros are -155 with JV on the mound, Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander has been terrible in the playoffs. Everything points to the Phillies winning tonight. They're 4-0 in the last 4 games following a loss. They're 8-1 against right-handed starters in their last 9 games. But the motivation that Verlander should have in order to step up and to show his team that he's still the ace and that he is the Cy Young winner for this year should be prevalent. I expect Verlander to pitch his butt off tonight and pitch the best game he's pitched in the postseason this year, because he has not been good at all. And I also expect Dusty Baker to have a quick trigger on him tonight. The Astros have never lost a Game 5 in the World Series. In all of their trips to the World Series, they're undefeated in Game 5s. And Game 5 is usually a very pivotal game. And I see them remaining undefeated, because if they can pull this game out now, they're now in a great position, because when you go back to Houston, I'm sure that the Astros will be about -160, -170, and then now you can hedge back on the other side, and you can jump on the Phillies for that one game if you choose to. So that's the thing that I take from this game, is that I think the Astros do win tonight, but I like the Astros in 6 for a future, simply because it sets up my ability to hedge with the Phillies in Game 6. So we're going with the Astros in 6 +170. Verlander is a real horse tonight, and shows guys why he's a Hall of Famer, and pitches a lot better than he's pitched in the postseason tonight.
All right, let's move on to kick the damn extra point. And today's edition is going to be something that hits close to my heart. I got my Raiders hoodie on today, right?
Right.
So, the fan is still here. The results have not been good. Talk to me about Josh McDaniels, man, because I already know we're on the same page. We haven't discussed it yet, but I have a feeling a lot of our thoughts are going to be the same. Hey, losing to the Saints in New Orleans, there's no shame in that. Getting shut out and having the performance that they did, absolutely shameful performance. And it comes to the coaching. This team was not prepared. And also, the game plan was simply bad. You're running reverses with Davante Adams. You got to be kidding me. Davante Adams isn't a speedster, and the whole defense is already keyed on him. The whole defense is already looking at where's Davante. When you run one of those jet sweeps, you want to get it to your little burner that nobody's paying attention to, that's sitting there with the slot corner. Well, the whole defense is focused on Davante Adams. Fake punt, just an absolutely terrible game plan. And hey, we as Raiders fans, we really have to be concerned that our owner made the wrong choice in this guy, because it didn't end well in Denver. You think, okay, he's had some time to mature. He's going to learn from his mistakes. But the results are exactly the same. And this has been a disappointing performance from a team that has plenty of talent. Talk to me about what you've seen from Josh McDaniels, because I'll tell you what, I'm getting pretty discouraged with the direction of this franchise.
Mark Davis built a house, a big black mansion right around the corner from me. I could jog around there to his house. I'm about ready to go over there and have a talk with that guy because I just don't understand what in the world made him get rid of Rich Biaggi and hire this guy, Josh McDaniels. It was the worst mistake. And the Raiders were finally moving towards respectability. We're in Vegas now, and they're now have a brand new stadium. They didn't lose any of their loyal fans from Oakland or LA. They make the trip down there every weekend, and then you have this great facility, so all of the visiting fans always come too. So it's just a great environment at all these Raiders games, and now they're putting out a losing product after going to the playoffs. You're getting no response from this team at all to Josh McDaniels. And the reason why is he's coming in with a heavy hand. Rich Biaggi treated these guys like men. He allowed them to be accountable, and he pretty much trusted them. He trusted his assistants. This guy is doing this Bill Belichick authoritarian type of coaching that the team is not responding to. It's no way in hell that you have Davante Adams and he has one catch and 3 yards, and my Saints didn't even have Marshawn Lattimore to trail them and to hold them. That is ridiculous. Davante Adams is number 1 or number 2 receiver in the whole league. He gets 1 ball. You got Josh Jacobs just went crazy running the ball against the Texans. He gets 10 carries. You got Derek Carr throwing for 101 yards in a full game. 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. And what is Josh McDaniels' pedigree supposed to be? Offense. This is just horrible, man. This is just a horrible, horrible situation for the Raiders. Too heavy-handed on this team right now. Let these guys have some fun. Let these guys feel like they're a part of the team and not just your little game piece that you're controlling. And when you say go do this, you do that, and move here. This isn't Madden, man. This isn't Madden. These are real people that you're dealing with. And whatever you've done to this Raiders team that made the playoffs last year has been a complete debacle. You can't have an offense with all of these weapons struggle like the Raiders have been struggling, man. And to see this team go from a team that was on the up last year to one of the worst teams in the league and no longer a contender for the AFC West title is all on Josh McDaniels. Davante Adams looks so disinterested. Their all-pro tight end has been hurt, but he doesn't look like when he plays like he wants to play. Like nothing looks the same over there. And as I told you, I love to read body language. The Raiders just do not look engaged. They don't look like they want to win and play for this guy. So, Josh McDaniels, get your stuff together if you're going to live out here in Las Vegas. This team was going up, and now you're coming through with that New England mess, man. Keep the damn extra point.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's go to the Ball and Parlay. Give the people some winners. We'll start with you. I know that you're going to tonight's game, but you're not going to play the full game. Let everyone know how to approach tonight's Amazon Prime showdown.
And we're going to cut the game in half. We're going to go Eagles first half -7.5. The Eagles are undefeated because they're the third-ranked offense in the league, and to go along with them being the third-best defense by the numbers in the league. Phillies number 1 in the NFL that protected the ball, while their defense is top in the lead in takeaways. Just a perfect formula. And the money on the Eagles minus 14 is going to be too heavy for me, way too tilted for my liking. So what I'm going to do is just cut this game in half. We're going to go with the Eagles minus 7.5. First half, they lead the league in first half points. They average 21 points a game. Their closest competition is Buffalo, who are averaging only 16 points in the first half. So they're 5 points better than everyone in the league in the first half. They always come out prepared. Sirianni comes out with some great play calling in the first half, not so much in the second half. That's why I'm going to stay away from the full game. The Texans, on the other hand, rarely come out with a solid game plan, and they're handcuffed by Davis Mills' inability to move the ball. The Texans are 28th in first half, scoring only averaging 8 points in the first 30 minutes of regulation. Even worse in the last 3 games, man. They've only averaged 6 points a game in the last 3 games in the first half. You combine that with a 31st ranked total defense and the 25th pass defense, you have a formula for a nice lead early for Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts is going to be locked in this game. He spoke all week about how excited he is to come back to his home city and how badly he always wants to play at NRG Stadium, and that really pisses me off because you know that all summer I was talking about it's very simple. Why won't the Texans trade Deshaun Watson to the Eagles, get their future quarterback and Jalen Hurts and give him a shot to be the franchise guy, and then you still might have 2 number ones to build around him with and get a left tackle and get a defensive end. And of course, they didn't listen. They sent him to the Browns for nothing back, just picks, when they could have had maybe the NFL MVP this season. This morning, I talked about this a little bit on 97.5, and John Granada and Lance Erline both said they don't think Hurts would have had this type of season with the Texans, and I think that he still would have made them a lot better than they are now because Jalen Hurts is a baller. He showed through his whole career that he's always been a leader and a guy with a lot of integrity, and his team follows him. And I think the Texans really are lacking that right now at the quarterback position. So with a lot of motivation, not only because his Astros in the World Series, he's back home playing in his hometown, a lot of friends and family watching him. And then on top of that, you know, you're dealing with an organization he probably thought was going to trade for him. So I think that Jalen Hurts acts bad in the first half, and the Eagles cover the first half fairly easy. But I would not be surprised if the Texans backdoor and cover this game. So we're going to go with the Eagles first half minus 7.5. They've been the best team in the first half all season.
All right, I'm with you. I placed that while we were speaking, and that way you don't have to worry about prevents. Backdoor covers, right? We saw, right? Tennessee just kind of, hey, you guys want a touchdown at the end? It's fine. Just use a lot of clock while we do it. Deal? My game tonight, I'm going to go ahead and move to National Basketball Association, you know, a sport that I love to bet. I don't know why. I watched Dyson Daniels miss those free throws last night. Why do I do this to myself? But I do. Tonight, I'm going to go ahead and take the Oklahoma City Thunder plus 6.5. And this is, you know, people are going to love the Nuggets. They have the reigning MVP, but we talked about this with the Warriors, and it's the same deal. When you know you're going to be a playoff team, right? Because other than an injury to Jokic, Denver will be in the playoffs. What seed? I don't know. But you need to start building for the playoffs, right? And you have 2 key pieces that missed most of last year, in Jamal Murray's case, all of last year, that you need to integrate if you're really going to compete with Golden State, Phoenix, Dallas, the Clippers if they're healthy, right? You're going to need it's not going to be Jokic alone. We saw that last year. Golden State swept them, right? They had no chance. 1 guy against 3, 1 guy against 4. This is a team sport. So they're trying to integrate Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, but it hasn't been the easiest, right? Porter's always been a guy, right, that's just a usage monster. He's been the man on his team. He's adjusting to being the third fiddle, and he's doing great because he's shooting the lights out from behind the arc, and that's what this team needs in order to give Jokic some space to work and be more effective. But still, it is an adjustment process. Same with Jamal Murray. Isn't showing that same burst he had in the bubble. Now, we've seen this with the type of injury he had, though. You don't always come back right away. You know, their hope is, hey, we're going to suffer through some time right now, but Murray's going to be that explosive guy when we need him in April, May, and June. This gives us a great opportunity to take a Thunder team tonight that we know, hey, they don't win many games, but you know what they do? They cover a lot of spreads. They haven't been beating Denver at all, but they're 5-0 against the spread against them in their last 5 games. because they keep it close. You talked about our guy, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Really disappointed he's not getting the credit he deserves for being a top point guard in the NBA, because he's toiling away over in tank land. How many first-round picks do you need, buddy?
Perpetual tank.
Yeah, I mean, after next year, if they don't commit, I mean, this is really getting to be something that I don't like. People talked about the Sixers. This, to me, is way worse. But regardless, this team covers, and that's what we care about when we're making these wagers, right? So give me the Oklahoma City Thunder plus 6.5.
All right, my boy Spread is going with the Thunder plus 6.5, and I'm with him too on that. And we're going with the Eagles first half minus 7.5. And I'm also going to throw a freebie out there for you guys. We've got the WTA Finals in Fort Worth, Texas. So that's close to my heart. I've been to Dallas a lot of times. Got some close friends out there. Shout out my guy Poncho. Shout out my sister who's lived in the Dallas area about 25 years. I've been to Fort Worth a lot of times. My boy Chris Staten played at TCU, and he took me around Berrytown and all that, and they really treat their athletes well over there. I can see why TCU keeps a good football program. But now they have the WTA Finals, and as you and I know, Spread, that tennis is a very international sport, so the crowds haven't been looking too good, but these girls are still playing for a lot right now. And I got to roll with your girl Dasha, man, at plus 110. She's 2-0 against Coco. I think Coco is just not ready yet to be on these stages with these grown women. She's having real problems closing these matches. I faded her last match with Garcia, and I'll be fading her tonight. I'm going with Castakina, your girl Dasha, the namesake for your cat. We're going with Castakina, man, plus 110. So that's a freebie for you guys. That'll be up tonight. That's actually the last match, so you'll have plenty of time to get that in. So there's a free bonus. Take Castakina in the WTA Finals over Coco Gauff tonight. Oklahoma City plus 6.5 full game. Eagles first half minus 7.5. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow to break down the weekend's coming action, give you guys our plays on college football, NFL, and NBA. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Anything for the people, Spread, before we get out of here?
Yeah, I put out an article. I bet Dasha too. Coco, nice. If you look at her record for players against the top 10 and then players that aren't in the top 10, and hey, she's 18 years old, right? I mean, right. Guys, the other 18-year-olds are still on ITFs right now. So we're not trying to talk bad about Coco, and I still think that she's going to be the greatest threat to be the true rival to Iga Swiatek, right? I mean, you can see where she's getting better. But right now at this level, and these courts, if you watch them, I mean, they're mud slow. It's perfect for Dasha because you can't hit through her like you could if you were playing on one of those quicker courts. Like they play in Cincinnati, right, where she has no chance. So it's another advantage she has. You got to look at the surface. Dasha's beat her twice on indoor clay. These courts kind of play the same. So I'm with you there. I'd already placed that one. I wrote it up yesterday. I love the pick, and I think we're going to cash a lot of tickets tonight.
Great minds think alike, man. We'll check you guys out tomorrow. Best of luck to you all.